First, thanks for having the chance to speak in such auditorium. First, let's hope that it's a post-COVID period, and somehow we are coming back to what used to be normal, to see people in such a number in one room. Unfortunately, still with masks, but let's hope that soon that will be the past. Actually, it's not an easy task to speak after the first panel, when the first two panels, when we saw different views. The one on the EU perspective of Western Balkan, and everyone speaking about what we as Western Balkan countries have to do in order to be prepared, and secondly, concluding that, yeah, you are part of Europe, but still somewhere there is a window opened and door opened, but it's not very wide opened. So probably the challenge that I will pose as well in my speech would be that in post-COVID period, there is a significant window opened for Western Balkans and Southeast Europe, and there is a slight door opened, but it's now not because of EU, but it is because of us if we are going to wide open the door. So it's obviously that we have had very difficult years behind us, especially these 2 years of COVID. But I think that made us very stronger, more resilient, challenged all of us to adapt and work together in order to start even thinking of finding a common sense and ground where we will have a wider prosperity and opportunity. I think that this event shows that how fast we can adapt, and actually having a hybrid event showed that the challenge that we faced because of COVID actually is a challenge that we faced as governments in order to start sooner as possible the process of digitalization. But as the gentleman said, one of the biggest challenges remains digital economy and digitalization in the private sector. Along with everything that we are doing, we are facing, not only in our country, but in general in Western Balkan 6, that yes, the government are moving ahead very fast in adapting, but where the private sector remains. And here I think we all have one major challenge in front of us, how we will together help the private sector to digitalize in order to be more competitive in the upcoming period. Regarding the reforms, probably I will talk quite a lot on the opportunities, but I was just puzzled a little bit from the previous speech on reforms, what that means. We as a Western Balkan 6, for 20 years we are doing reforms. Just 4 years ago, I think most of us in Western Balkan 6, we were competing ourselves who is going to be best in doing business ranking. And we were very, very good in that. Yeah. I think that most of us recall that 4 years ago, we were somewhere around number 5, number 6 in the world of doing business. But actually, none of us achieved to address real problems. Because doing business is a start, but creating a predictable business environment with the rule of law in itself was I would say, failure in the past. And this is something that we are now as a government focused on. It's not about waving and saying how good you are in rankings. It's about whether you create a predictable business environment for the potential investors. And lastly, when we talk on investors, since 4 years, we abandoned the word foreign and domestic. For us, every investor is an investment. no matter if it's a foreign or if it's a domestic investor. And those are real reforms that need a little bit more time in order to happen. But I would like to talk on the opportunities that come post-COVID period and why I think that we have to use this opportunity as the Western Balkans 6 countries and as a North Macedonia as well. The first is the need of nearshoring. The countries in Southeast Europe, especially Western Balkans 6, should work towards bringing the supply chain near the borders of the European Union, since faraway supply markets we saw that had proven not to be very sustainable, costly, and actually this will take us towards so-called regional competitiveness instead of regional competition, because regional competition we have seen in the past, it didn't provide very good results. So let's embark into regional competitiveness and creating more opportunities for us in order to compensate and enhance the added value enclosed by supply chains. In saying that, we do think that North Macedonia is quite competitive for any investor, and I'm going just to name several of them. First is the geographic location, close to the key markets, very close to the different harbors, but a crossroad of several pan-European corridors, highway, railway, plus gas pipelines, on which we are extremely committed and investing. And moreover, I think in the near future, it will be an energetic hub in Western Balkans. Secondly, as the country prepares EU integration, many standards are already aligned to the EU directives, no matter that the path towards the EU integration might seem quite far. On support of the investment, we do say that we provide quite competitive, and we should not forget that it's fully aligned with EU rules. In the past few years, we have established one-stop shop for all investors, and that's the Cabinet of Deputy Prime Minister in charge of economic affairs. We have shortened decision-making and paperwork from more than a year to not more than 2 months in order that an investor takes an state aid agreement. We have been redefining the custom code to align it to European Union, even though we are maybe very far of joining European Union. But we do think that this will create a more competitive and comprehensive environment for the business sector, and especially manufacturing industry. To sum up, any company that faces the supply chain as an issue at the moment and is thinking about nearshoring should have a look on investing in North Macedonia, but not only. They should see the whole region as such, because, yeah, we might be very small separately, but as previously said, together we make a market that is strong and very competitive. As I said in the beginning, our end goal is to create an environment that is safe, predictable for the investors, but even more, we are working towards strengthening our domestic economy, regardless of the EU accession path. Because we do believe that our economy has to be prepared once we become part of EU. Thank you.